Hi, I'm Sam.
Hi, I'm Keddy.
And we are the Lotus in Life. Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the 10 worlds, which is the essence of this practice. It was a concept that was brought about in the 6th century by Tiantai from China. And what the 10 worlds basically talks about is the world from hell to Buddhahood and everything in between. So without any further ado, Ketty.
So, the first world is hell. It's the condition of despair in which one is completely overwhelmed by suffering.
And number 2 are the hungry spirits, also known as hunger. And it's a state dominated by a deluded desire that can never be satisfied.
Number 3 is the animals or animality, the state of fearing the strong and bullying the weak.
Asuras, also known as anger, is the 4th state, and it's a state characterized by an unrestrained competitive urge to surpass and dominate others, good and wise.
The 5th state of human beings or humanity is a tranquil state marked by the ability to reason and make calm judgments.
Heavenly beings, also known as rapture, is a state of joy typically experienced when desire is fulfilled or suffering is escaped. And I think that is a world that we can all relate to very happily. So these are the first 6 worlds, and by the way, these are from the source is the World Tribune website. And so the 6 worlds are endemic in everybody. They're contained in everybody. We have a whole gamut of emotions, and the 6 worlds, basically, the first 6 are about being influenced by our environment. The next 4 worlds are known as the 4 noble worlds, and they're worlds that are more internal.
So the 7th world is called the voice hearers or the world of learning. So this one involves the state of life gained by those who have the partial awakening through the hearing the Buddha's teachings. The next one is the world of the cause awakened ones. So this is the state of realization. So this is where this is the world where the life state is attained by those who gain a partial awakening through their own observations and efforts. However, there are limitations to these life states where there's the tendency towards self-centeredness and self-absorption.
So they're worlds 7 and 8. So the 9th world is the world of bodhisattva. And it's a state of compassion in which we overcome the restraints of egotism and work tirelessly for the welfare of others. And the 10th world, which is the world of Buddhahood. For a person in this state, everything, including the inevitable trials of illness, aging and death, can be experienced as an opportunity for joy and fulfillment. The inner life state of Buddhahood makes itself visible through altruistic commitment and actions enacted in the world of bodhisattva. And as Daisaku Ikeda says, attaining Buddhahood means to solidify in our lives a spirit of yearning for the happiness of oneself and others, and to continuously take constructive action with that spirit. It is a life state of ultimate hope and fulfillment. So these worlds are practical. The 10 worlds are practical, and they exist in every single human being. So I'm going to ask you a question here, Ketty, to see how these worlds relate in your life. The first question I'd like to ask is, what world has impacted you the most, and how have you overcome it?
Well, I would say that the world of not only one world impacts me, but several. So I would say they impact me in different ways, not exactly in the ways that we have read to you. So a lot of them have a lot more to them. So for me, the world of hell is where I feel overwhelmed by all the problems in my life and are paralyzed with this feeling of not being able to do anything about it and just being in this state of acceptance that this is my life. Another world is the world of hunger. So by studying this, it made me realize all of the different aspects of these worlds, and this world of hunger is the world where it's dominated by the deluded desire that can't be satisfied. And it made me realize that I set a lot of expectations for myself that can't be fulfilled, and it's me that's creating these things that cannot be satisfied. And the last world that impacts me is the world of anger. So from the sgi.org, it says that the world of anger, or asuras, is an obsession with personal superiority or self-importance, and a tendency to always compare oneself to others and want to be better than them. So for me, it's the comparing myself with others and wondering where I go wrong. All these worlds really significantly impacted me in the first term of uni, like all at the same time, where I felt overwhelmed by the position that I was in, and I was comparing myself to other people and wondering what was wrong with me that I couldn't achieve those standards. But through this practice, I've come to realize that any of the aspects of our personality are things that we have chosen. But since we've chosen them, we can also change them, and we can choose them as well. And it's made me realize that although there's negative aspects that we have and don't like about ourselves, and I'm sure everyone has these problems and things that they'd love to change about themselves, but through this practice I've realized that we can change these things. And although it takes time, these things we can do better each time and make a step towards the right direction. And each time I'd fall into these low life states and be affected by these worlds, I would have this realization and have this moment of understanding, and then move up and move towards the world of Buddhahood. I hope that our explanation of the 10 worlds has given everyone a basic understanding. And I wanted to ask you, Sam, which of the 10 worlds have impacted you the most in the past, and how have you overcome it?
Well, like yourself, Kenny, and I think it's a bit of a common denominator here, I've experienced the world of hell quite a lot in my life. The hell of gambling, the hell of loneliness, the hell of manic depression, the hell of feeling not good enough, the hell of insecurity and low self-esteem. And over the years of my practice, I've realized when I open those Butsudan doors and I start to chant the words Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, I elevate my life condition so I can leave that Gohonzon and go out into my environment with hope. So, of course, I still experience hell. I still experience that feeling of despair and negativity and hopelessness. But I know when I get in front of the Gohonzon, it goes away. And it allows me to be in control. You see, hell is a self-absorbing state. It's a state of absolute hopelessness and despair. So, isn't it a great thought that we can actually lift ourselves out of this state?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, Sam. So from your understanding of the 10 worlds and your empathy towards the world of hell, how has that helped you when interacting with other people?
Great question, Kenny. What I realized, first of all, is that when I'm reacting with other people, they all have the worlds, the 10 worlds. And especially if somebody is in a world of hell, I recognize it in myself. And I realize that I need to somehow elevate my condition so that we can have a dialogue. You see, the problem with these lower life conditions is if we're both in them, it creates an environment of antagonization. It creates an environment of conflict. Mm-hmm. But what I found is that when I chant, I'm able to see that other person's Buddha nature. I'm able to respect their Buddha nature even when they're behaving negatively towards me or negatively towards themselves. I stop and if necessary, I'll chant inside. And, well, not if necessary, it is absolutely necessary to chant. I chant inside, and that elevates my life condition so that I can have a conversation with that person in front of me. And so that's how the world of hell has helped me interact with others. I'm also aware of the world very, very much in my life of rapture. The problem with rapture is as high as you can get, you can crash down just as easily. So I also know that when I'm in front of someone that's really celebrating something and they're extremely happy, I still know that I have to be mindful and show some gentleness towards that person, because as much as they're on a high, they could crash just as quickly. So I know that happens with me as well. It happens with all of us in the world of rapture. It's only temporary. So that's what I do. Yeah. So my question to you now, Ketty, is, just trying to find the question, is how does it feel when you're in front of, how do the 10 worlds help you when you're interacting with others?
Well, for me, I realized through my relationships that when other people are in those lower worlds of being angry or being like animalistic, any of those worlds, it makes me realize that I don't need to match their level. Because if we both are in these worlds of anger, it makes it worse for both of us. And it makes me realize as well that it takes a lot for anyone to get to that stage or that state of the anger world. And rather than being negative towards that person, what they really need is sympathy, because they are suffering in their way. And it's not about trying to like talk them down. It's about bringing each other up and lifting each other out of those negative worlds and towards the world of Buddhahood. So that's how it's helped me interact with other people. And also the basis and the fundamentals of this practice is realizing that everyone has all these 10 worlds within them, and that everyone has the potential for Buddhahood. So it just depends on their journey in life, but we can do this in several ways to support someone into getting to that world, by either being there for them, or we can also chant for them, whether it's a co-worker or someone that you're very close with, a friend, that you can help everyone realize their Buddhist potential and reach that stage of Buddhahood as well.
That is so insightful. That's amazing. Another question I have for you, Ketty, take a breath, is how does it feel to be in the world of Buddhahood?
Well, that's a great question, Sam. But since I am very young in my practice, but very young in general, I would say the closest that I've had to Buddhahood is where the moments where I'd have hardships in relationships, for example, with my boyfriend, and that I realize that I am in that hell state of realizing that I have many problems with myself, because all relationships around you are really a mirror to yourself and your flaws. And in that hell state, I'd let myself be overwhelmed by those feelings and feel like I cannot do anything to change them. But when I would go in front of the Gohonzon and I'd chant, or I'd read something inspiring in the Indigo, or I'd talk to members or help other people, but they also help me, it would lift me up to this state of my version of Buddhahood, because I know that everyone will have a different version of Buddhahood for them. And for me, it's that realization the next day that I understand that I have these problems. Everyone has problems. We're only human. But that in the future, I'm going to take things out of it and realize that this is an opportunity to grow, and that there's these aspects of myself that I don't like. But that's okay, because I'm going to change them and I'm going to do better, and that any opportunities in my life, that I'm not going to let them get me down, because I have the strength of character to rise up against them and use the state of Buddhahood and the wisdom that I have to surpass them. So even when I feel overwhelmed with my uni studies, I'd realize that I've experienced worse before, and I'm sure we all have experience that we've compared to, that we've survived, even though it's very hard for us. And by being grateful for that, and I am so grateful for my experiences, it makes me realize that if I can do that, I can do this, and I can do anything, especially with the power of the Gohonzon. And that's my state of Buddhahood, of feeling that I have this wisdom to actually address the issues in my life. What about you, Sam? So how does it feel to be in the world of Buddhahood for you?
Well, you just mentioned the word wisdom, Ketty, and to me, everything is contained within the Gohonzon. The Gohonzon is the objective truth, and we are, Ketty, all of you, myself, we are the subjective wisdom. So objective truth and subjective wisdom. So when I'm in front of Gohonzon, I'm chanting, I feel that I can sometimes, not always, but it might take me an hour to get to this, but I sometimes feel I'm fusing with the Gohonzon. And when you put some beautiful clothing on, like a silk shirt or something, it's like wearing Buddhahood. I feel hope. I feel energy. I feel compassion. Every day before I go out to sell, when I sell door to door, I chant to be able to, everybody that I come across, that I can somehow make their day a happy day. So my chanting is for myself, it's also for other people. So I feel when I'm in front of Gohonzon that I am actually in Buddhahood in front of Gohonzon. And when I leave Gohonzon, I close the Butsudan doors. That's when I need to aspire to all of those prayers that I prayed for when I was in front of Gohonzon during my day, to remember to be compassionate, to remember to be a bodhisattva, to remember to care about the people I'm in front of. And it's easy to slip down, it's easy to crash and go back into hell. And as I said before, when that happens, I'll sit on a seat, on a bus stop seat or some seat in a park or wherever, and I'll chant for a few minutes until my life feels better, because there's no other option for me, I feel, than to have that connection with my Buddhahood and to experience Buddhahood.
And also in the teachings of Nichiren Daishonin, there's a beautiful quote. Would you like to read it, Sam?
Well, he says in Daisaku Ikeda again, he says in the introduction to this. He says, enlightenment is not a mystical or transcendental state. Rather, it is a condition in which one enjoys the highest wisdom, vitality, good fortune, confidence, and other positive qualities, and in which one finds fulfillment in one's daily activities and comes to understand one's purpose in being alive.
And this is just a great note, and this is a very hopeful way to end the video. And we really hope that everyone can make that journey towards Buddhahood and being that state of enlightenment. One thing that has stuck by me is the knowledge that although it's our goal, it's a temporary state, but each time we'll keep on going up there, we'll reach that level of Buddhahood. We might fall down again, but each time that we chant, we get closer and closer to reaching that world.
And all of these 10 worlds from hell to Buddhahood are actually contained within each other. And next video, we're going to be talking about the mutual possession of the 10 worlds, which is the next stage of this particular series. So, I'm Sam.
I'm Keddy.
And we are the Lotus in Life. We'll see you next time.